Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sky Lilah Experience. Today we have Monica Mitchell, who is a holistic life and business coach coming from Charlotte. Yes,
Charlotte, yep,
amazing.
you
Charlotte,
got it.
I'm like, oops, I forgot. How are you, Monica? Thank you so much for coming on today.
Excellent, and I'm so excited to be here. I've been listening to your podcast, and I'm just so excited to play with you today.
Thank you. That was my intention as well. So when I was reading Monica's bio, I don't even know how I really truly attract such aligned individuals because I really resonated with everything that you've been doing for the past 30 years. And it seems who you are as a human being because it seems to me that you've really tied your life mission, purpose, passion with business. And that's really what you teach people as well.
That is
So it's
true.
mostly about, go ahead. But so you've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. And what inspired you to focus on burnout prevention for women in business? Or if you want to take us back to the beginning, the little story to lead us into it.
Sure. So I have been a serial entrepreneur for 30 years. I started in the fitness industry and fitness and wellness. Did everything from, I'm going to age myself, but we called it teaching aerobics back then.
Okay.
But taught aerobics, personal trainer, ran the facilities, owned my own facilities. And as a natural teacher and guide, I very obviously was put on this earth to teach and coach and to share my gifts and my passion to help other people. It's just who I am, is what I do naturally. So I transitioned from doing the work to coaching other fitness and wellness professionals and teaching them how I did what I did to be successful in the industry. And then after about 20 or so years of that, I got really burned out. I was helping everybody else. I was doing all of the things that as a service-based business owner we do. And I just ran myself into the ground. I hit a wall and I couldn't do it anymore. I was resenting my clients. I was terrorizing my team. And I was just dreading going to work every day. And that's not the kind of space that I wanted to be in. And so I really had to consider, what else do I want to do? What else am I good at? How else can I be of service to people? And somehow landed with professional organizing. And so I started, it's totally random.
Because it feels so similar to I haven't done professionally organizing, but so many people have told me I should do that because I just love, but I also have a fitness background and nutrition, and I sometimes am like, I wish I could just organize because I love it so much. So it's so
Yes.
interesting.
Oh, that is so
Very
funny.
story.
What an interesting parallel there. Somehow I ended up professional organizing and very quickly ended up coaching other professional organizers. And then, excuse me, that kind of expanded just organically to working with other service-based business owners, salon owners, artists. I have a very diverse client base that just because of my, years of experience in owning businesses, that I was able to share those gifts and those passions with others. I transitioned from that at the same time as coaching. I transitioned into productivity consulting because of the organizing and the strategy. And then I developed a really rare, really severe form of asthma during the COVID season and had to shut that business down. So once again, I was faced with, who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go? And I kind of just assessed all of the things that I had been doing, and I realized that a common thread, no matter who I was working with, no matter what industry they were in, no matter what industry I was in, the common thread that I was working with was burnout, especially with service-based business owners, because we serve everybody else. And we're also not taught how to run businesses. So we're doing something because we have a gift and a passion and we want to share that with other people, but we don't know how to do like the back end of it. We're never really taught or trained that. And so we end up just figuring it out as we go. We hold everything together with Band-Aids and duct tape, and we just go, do until we hit that wall. And
Yeah.
so I I realized that burnout was the common thread. And then it was like, okay, well, how I've dealt with that. What have I done with it? How can I share that with others? And it surprised even me, but I took my background in wellness. I took my own personal work in woo-woo, the mindset, and then work-life harmony or work-life balance, my business strategy. And I put all that in together because those are the areas that I see that people, if not one, then all three, or if not all three, then at least one. Those three areas are where people struggle and where they're getting burned out. They're either not taking care of their wellness, they're not taking care of their woo-woo or their mindset, or they're not taking care of that work-life harmony. And that's how I ended up doing what I do.
Yes, thank you. I just was nodding my head the whole time thinking I resonate with everything because it's so accurate. It's trying to balance it all, and we really are not taught how to do the business side. And that's kind of the majority, I feel like, of major businesses are entrepreneurs who have a passion, and that's what allows them to keep going at it for so long. But burnout really does happen, especially in women, especially. That's what do you work solely with women or just majority?
Mostly women. I attract mostly women. I do work with a few special men. But because I am a woman business owner, then I tend to attract that more. But I do have have had a handful of male clients that I actually adore working with as well.
Yeah. I just wonder, so many questions. Maybe we'll start with mindset first, because I think that's a huge aspect, especially with women. At least I know one of my best friend entrepreneurs and I are always, there's a little group of three of us, and we've really shifted from this boss babe, hustle mindset to how to be more feminine, but also maintaining the masculinity in ourselves so that we can continue to thrive in this material world. What are the common patterns, or what can you educate about that, and common patterns that you've noticed, and then how you've supported people to shift out of it? Really your expertise.
No, that's a great question. I got the chills when you were talking about the feminine and masculine, because that is a conversation that I have a lot, because I think as women starting our own businesses, we were taught by men. When I started in the industry, I was one of the very few female coaches. And so we were learning how to run businesses like men. And we were learning how to run businesses in a very masculine way. And so we kind of adopted that energy. And then even the women, we had the boss babe and the hustle. And I think just the last few years, even, I've seen more of a transition to trying to find that balance, trying to focus more on, I hate this word, but authenticity. And the way I like to approach it is just being true to yourself. I tried so hard to do things like other people for so long. Well, this worked for them, and this worked for them, and this worked for them, and this is what I should do. This is one of the common themes, is we should on ourselves. So one of my lessons is actually called Stop Shoulding on Yourself, because we tend to look outside for guidance and information and instruction. And one of the mindset things that I really work on with my clients is nobody knows you, nobody knows your business, nobody knows your passion and your gift and your service better than you do. So yes, it's okay to seek outside perspective, but you know your business better than anybody else. And I do a lot of work with my clients, including like oracle card readings, to help them learn to trust their own intuition and to trust their own instinct, and not to rely so much on that outside masculine, competitive hustle energy. But to really, if I don't want to do social media, don't do social media like that. If that's in your gut, if that's in your heart, if it doesn't feel good to you, you don't have to do that. What else can you do? How else can you connect your business with your people and go with it. And let's figure that out instead of trying to figure out how to force that square peg into a round hole.
It's so true. Yeah, letting yourself. I've been telling myself using the term inspired action as opposed to what I should be doing, which is
Yes.
also a bit scary though, because I have this huge to-do list. And then inside, I think, well, I want to do this. And it's taken a few years to actually let myself go, okay, go do that right now instead of everything that you had ticked off. And then I'm so much more productive that day because I'm feeling better at the beginning, or whenever I kind of felt the resistance, I didn't keep resisting. I just went with the flow. And it's really taken a practice of letting myself trust my intuition and knowing that, oh, I actually do know what's best. And it might be completely different than what everyone's told you or that pattern to get there. I think that's the scary part about an entrepreneur is there really is no cutout path and you are creating your own path. So my mom
Yeah.
tells me all the time, she's like, you're cutting down the trees. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. She's like, 50 years ago, there was no road to Whistler, and now it's a huge highway paved. But at the beginning, it was just no road, and then there was a little road, and then 30 years later, they made it a bigger road, and eventually, you'll be able to drive faster on it. So kind of at that young age of, don't worry, you're carving it out.
Yes.
What do you notice for women and with the mindset? What aspects do you cover? The mindset, woo-woo. Is there physical, because of your wellness background, what do you do about one's physical health and body? How do you address
Yeah.
that?
I love this because for so long I taught people exercise. I taught exercise, and you go to the gym and you lift the weights, and after a while it didn't even feel good to me. I don't want to be anywhere near a gym smelling like dirty gym socks or sweat, or I don't want to be in an enclosed space inside standing there going, raising weights, and it just doesn't feel good. And so even though I taught that for many, many, many years because I didn't really know better, what I focus on now is motion, is moving your body with joy, whether it's taking a walk outside or dancing or doing yoga. Just like with business, there's no right or wrong way to move your body. It's what feels good to you. I definitely am not a believer in no pain, no gain, especially when it comes to your body, because you're only given one. And if you force it and push it and break it, then, you can't continue to move it. It's not going to serve its purpose for the long run. So I really just teach my clients to find ways to explore and move their bodies in a way that feels good to them.
When they're coming to you, are they at burnout? Or are they still gung-ho? At what point do you receive people, and kind of what's the game plan to move forward through that?
That's a really great question. I think, as anything, there's a spectrum, but most of the time when clients come to me, they're overworked, they're overwhelmed. Like I said, they've been holding everything together with Band-Aids and duct tape. They've gone as far as they can on their own, and they're seeking that outside perspective. They're seeking some support, some guidance, maybe even some accountability. But usually they're just trying to figure out, how do I get out of this cycle? I've tried it all. I've done it all. I'm doing it all, and I'm exhausted. And they're just looking for some support. So they're, when you ask if they're already burned out or if they're, I just locked up. There we go. They're kind of on the edge. They're right at the point where if they don't get some help, if they don't make a change, if they don't start doing something differently, they're going to hit that wall. They're going to crash and burn. They're either going to just fire all their staff, go get I used to call it, go get your big girl job. Excuse me, whenever I got burned out, I was like, I don't want to own a business anymore. I just want to work for somebody else and get a paycheck. Meh. So like,
I experience that so regularly.
That's usually when they come to me.
Yeah. But there's just something where it's like, it doesn't work. It's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, but we all feel it. And I would say that's the trigger. If you're feeling that way, it's time to call me.
It's a good line. line in the sand to know.
Yeah. It's either get a coach or go get a big girl job that you've got your steady paycheck and you hate every day and, whatever. But,
yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's great. Yeah, it's just funny because so many people, I think, especially at my age, all my entrepreneur friends do get to that point where it's like, okay, it's been a while now that we've sort of taken the route at an earlier age, but then it almost gets more pressure because comparing to the average other person, it's this line of right before you make it per se versus the stability that a corporate role has. So what do you do in that instance? Do you go, okay, get a job, a big girl job, and we'll do this? Or do you break down a game plan? What does it look like? What are next steps for that?
Yeah, it's a little different for everybody. I'm very, very customized in my approach. I sit down, and I always start with my clients with kind of a longer session, my VIP day, and we just sit down and talk. We just kind of brain dump, like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? How are things going? What is holding you back or tripping you up? What do you feel like you want to do? What do you feel like you should do? And we just kind of dump everything. We go through all the thoughts, all the feelings, all of the things, all of the to-dos, that ongoing task list, and we just take it, we dump it. And then whether we're in person or virtual, we just take a step away. Like, it's all there. It's not going anywhere. We take a little break. We take a little walk. We, feel the sunshine. We get some fresh air, get some perspective, and then come back and then just sort through it. I have obviously a process where we sort through all of the things and filter it down to, again, what feels good to you? What can you do right now? What are your options? I just went through this last night with one of my girlfriends where she had two equally good options. I could do this, and here's the pros and cons. I could do this, here's the pros and cons, and it was even. She just could not make a decision. And I said, all right, great, flip a coin. And she was like, what? I said, flip a coin. If there's no right or wrong answer, flip a coin. But the key to that, and she figured out very quickly where I was going with it, I said, okay, A is heads, option B is tails, flip it. And she flipped it and it landed on one of them and she went, oh. And I was like, well, there's your answer. If you had gone, yes. Or if you go, okay, 2 out of 3, that's your answer. Sometimes we can't make the logical decision, but if you just flip a coin, leave it to the universe, but then your reaction tells you the answer that you need. And I love that trick, or I call it a Jedi mind trick. So I've got a lot of those that I have in my back pocket when we get stuck, but I use that a lot when we're trying to decide which direction to go. It could be, should I keep going with my business? Should I get a part-time job? Should I get a full-time job and give it a break? Sometimes we'll do a coin flip and see what happens.
So true, because then you really feel the inside of, oh, no, I do want to do that. It's like, I experience that a lot, even with my boyfriend. He'll ask something, and I go, I don't know, it doesn't matter. And then he'll go, okay, we'll do this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this one. But that kind of pressure makes me come to a conclusion and go, okay, I love that. That's such a nice one for anyone. If they're just, you can do that today, really, for almost any decision.
Yeah.
Big or small.
It's more instinctual. It's more intuitive when you base it on the reaction as opposed to like written on paper making a decision. Sometimes decisions are hard. We really get that overwhelm and decision fatigue and all of that. So sometimes just letting your instinct and your reaction come up with the answer is just such a weight off of your shoulders.
Do you have practices that you teach to people about trusting your intuition, learning to do that more throughout your whole process? I don't know if that was the best question, but you get what I mean, right?
Yes. Well, as I mentioned before, I do oracle card readings, and I love that. I don't have one on my desk right here. Otherwise, I'd pull one up as an example. But the way that I do oracle card readings, some people will take a card and they'll read you and they'll tell you what they see. I love sharing the card with my client, and I say, what do you see? And like if I'm looking at it, I might pick out the color red. They might look at the exact same card and the color purple is standing out to them. And I might notice a little triangle over in the corner. They might notice a different shape or a different aspect, something in the card. And to me, whatever is catching your eye in the moment, that's what you want to focus on. And so, maybe you wear blue today if that's the color that's catching, or you look for things, you start noticing signs that have blue on them. Or if there's a book on your bookshelf that is blue, maybe that's the one you grab today. So I use just kind of little, again, it's kind of Jedi mind tricks, but I love the Oracle cards for that because it helps to, again, take that decision making and that black and white on paper, the shoulds, it takes that out of it. It takes all the lists and the, what is the word I'm looking for? All of the serious stuff out of it. And it just really helps you. Okay, what am I seeing? What is calling to me today? Aside from that, as far as like helping people to trust their intuition, the coin trick, that's one of them. Trusting your reaction to that and learning to gauge your response. And I don't really have this is how you trust your intuition. I kind of just learn, I'm very intuitive myself in working with my clients, and something might speak to me as we're in a conversation, or I'll ask them, what did you feel about today, or what's on your mind? And a lot of times it's not even something that we spoke about. It's just something that's sticking in their head at the end of the conversation. And, we just kind of talk about that a little bit more and focus on that. So I really customize that part of it because there's not a right or wrong way to do intuition or to trust your intuition. One is learning to listen to it. So I do work with them on, as you're going through your day, what are the thoughts that are popping up in your head? If you think about a friend that you haven't talked to in 3 years, pick up the phone, give them a call. You never know. Usually out of that, there is some type of connection or event, or, it could be business, it could be personal, but there's a reason why they popped into your head. And so even just training somebody to, when somebody pops in your head, give them a call. Instead of thinking, oh, I should call them when I have more time, pick up the phone, give them a call right then. So just like the little things, just paying attention is the first step.
Yes. How do you support people in overcoming fear or self-doubt or overwhelm? Because I feel like that, even just listening to you, getting into that calmness, I would even notice my own thoughts going, okay, because I've done this before. I did, show me a red convertible, because I thought, when would I really see a red convertible over in London? There's not many convertibles because it's always raining, or a blue one. So I did it super random. And then that day I ended up seeing 2 red and 2 blue. And it was like, okay, so I need to find a new way or stop answering. How would you help someone when they even do these practices, just because I've noticed that come up for me before, and I like to think I'm so intuitive, to kind of surrender to the overwhelm and halt it in a way, or the overthinking, or even once you've made that decision, you flip the coin, but then they might leave you and go, well, should I have done this or should I have done that? I notice that comes up a lot. What kind of practices, or how do you help people through that?
Well, I'm really curious because you said that you'll ask for I'm assuming like an affirmation or confirmation. If it's supposed to be this, show me a red convertible. But then you said, well, now I need to come up with something different because I saw 2 of those. Why would you have to come up for something different? That worked.
Well, it was kind of like a yes for a yes or for a no, a blue for a yes and a red for a no, which maybe I should have just asked for one, because then I got yes, no, yes. First I saw yes, and then an hour later I saw a blue one, and it was like no, and I thought, well, I'm trying to trust the universe.
Yeah.
I'm not really getting clear signs. Is there, or is it just things like that? And I just, because for me, I know that I already am so kind of confident in the majority of the times. So I know with certain friends, when they try to do these things, they get so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, how do you practice that or kind of halt that? Even my mom, she'll take away my art and she'll be like, it's done, we're taking it out. And then she'll take it away and we'll exhibit it and it'll sell. And I'm like, oh my God, I would have kept working on it for another year.
Yes. So
but I actually do get a lot of things done. So I know for the people who really are held back by that.
Yeah, one of the classic challenges that we have is overthinking. And the balance to that is simplicity. I'll use the convertibles as an example. So yeah, you were right. You left it kind of broad because you said red or blue and you got both. So either my response to that would be, okay, so maybe it's neither. Maybe it's both. So again, you can get into like that can take you down a bunch of different paths. So I think part of it is when you're looking for answers, be very specific, be very clear of the first one that I see, not the whole day. It's the first one that I see, or just acknowledging that if you see both, that means it's either both and you're going to find a way to blend, or it's neither and there's another option. So I think it's just kind of learning from experiences like that. So now you know when I'm asking for this as confirmation, I need to be a little bit more specific. So I think one of it is just narrowing things down, being specific. And then the second part would be just kind of learning. Okay, well, if this didn't work, then how can I simplify it? What's another way to do this that makes it a little bit easier? Nothing's going to be perfect the first time. Nothing's going to be perfect every time, but just paying attention and learning from it and finessing. That's one of my other favorite phrases that you'll hear me say a lot is finessing and enhancing. There's never a final, there's a finesse. So I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. It's either going to work or it's not, or I'm going to finesse it or enhance it. And then I'm going to make another decision. And then, at some point, it's either going to work, I'm going to finesse it to where it's something completely different, or I'm going to drop it. But I think having that spirit of exploration and adventure and just giving something a shot. I can sit here and think about it all day, but it's never going to happen until I actually take action. I've got to take that inspired action. And at some point, you just have to go for it. You got to be brave and curious and take away the expectation that it has to be perfect or that it has to work. Look at it as an experiment. Look at it as a first step or an adventure, or I try to really bring that play into things. Because really, like, nothing we're doing, unless you're a surgeon or, something like that, nothing we're doing is life or death. Nobody is going to die if I, put something on Instagram instead of Facebook, or if I choose to use social media or not, or if I use this CRM or this one, or if I charge this much for a service versus this much. Nobody's going to die. I can change my mind later. And I think that's something else is that we feel like we have to make a decision. And if we have to change things, we feel like we failed. And so I really work with a lot of mindset around that it's not a failure. You just learn something and you're adjusting. We're finessing and enhancing. And for some reason, like finesse and enhance, it just feels better. I love like the play of the word and it makes it feel better. So I didn't change. I didn't fail. I'm just finessing a little bit. And so bringing that play, just bringing that play helps to make things not so serious and not so perfect and not so life or death.
Words really are everything. I heard that, I don't know when I first started getting into mindset, and even just saying when someone was angry, instead of being angry or even excitement, or maybe I was learning about public speaking. I forget what it was, but
Oh,
just instead of being stressed and scared, I realized, okay, if I tell myself, because can't say it,
you got it. Physiology. You got it.
thank you. Inside, what's happening is the same thing as excitement versus fear or stress. So if you just shift those words, and I still in front of stages will feel really quite nervous, but I'm like, I'm so excited. My body's preparing me. So it's even just brainwashing yourself to believe and shift those words first, because words are spells. I like to believe that's sort of true. So I really love the word finesse. I've never heard of that in this sense before, and I'm going to start using it.
Hey.
Thank you. It's true. How would you, because everything really is a practice, and like you're saying, you're never there, even with, I teach fitness as well too. I mean, I still do, not regularly, but a little bit here and there just for fun. And often it's, even this morning, someone said, well, my low back, isn't on the mat. And I said, well, that's the practice. Like, it's not wrong. It's just, that's what you're continuing to practice, is keeping it there. And we're never really there, because there's always a next step to make something harder or easier. How, in terms of harmony, when you're helping someone go from that hustle to harmony, how would you determine, or not, because nothing's black or white, but remind them too, even that they are in harmony, even though it's not 24/7? Kind of what is that point when you go, okay, I am here, not every day, but in an overall spectrum that is there? Like, what is it that somebody feels inside, or how do they recognize that they've sort of made it in a way?
Oh, such a great question. We could spend all day on this one.
I know it's really tricky, but
Yeah. Oh gosh, so many different directions we could go. Okay, so one thing that popped out, and I don't know if this exactly answers your question, but it was something that came to
that's
me that I
okay.
want to share. Is, when you say harmony, I used to use the word balance. We all used to use the word work-life balance, and a lot of us have transitioned to harmony. I love the phrase harmony, because when we say balance, it feels like it has to be 50-50. And if we're spending time on work, it feels like we're neglecting life. And if we're spending time on life, it feels like we're neglecting work. Or if we're focusing on our clients, we're neglecting ourselves. And when you say balance, it just makes it feel uneven. When you say harmony, you can spend 80% of time on your clients and 20% on yourself in this season. And that is balanced for this season, which is why I like the word harmonize, because it doesn't have to be 50-50. Does that make sense? I think I just kind of talked in a circle, but
No, it's very clear.
okay.
Such a great point.
And then in other seasons, you might take some downtime where you're not spending as much time on clients. You might spend more time working on your business. You might focus on the admin, on cleaning up your systems and your processes, on hiring and leveraging a team. A different season, you might say, you know what, I'm just going to let my business run on autopilot for 2 or 3 months, and I'm really going to focus on myself. And one of the things that I get so frustrated about as we make that transition from like masculine to feminine energy in business is, so many times, I cannot tell you, I was told, you need some self-care. Go take a bubble bath. Go get your nails done. And me. That is not self-care. That's pampering. Self-care is moving your body. It's hydrating. I see you drinking your water. It's hydrating. It is sleep. It is giving your body and your mind the good quality rest that it needs. So sometimes you might not be focusing on your SOPs or leveraging your team. You might be focusing on your sleep rituals and routines. You might be focusing on, how do I move my body more? Can I put more time into exercise and a little bit less time on maybe meditation? Someday, oh my gosh, see, this is where I get really excited when we start talking about when we start talking about routines and rituals and seasonality. One of the things that you hear so often is, well, I need to exercise every day, and I need to meditate every day, and I need to do this every day or every week. And we feel like we should do all of those things. And I love to put the question, what if? What if you don't have to do everything every day? What if 2 days a week you meditate and like sit down and om and, cross your legs, close your eyes, whatever? What if 2 or 3 days a week your meditation is you take a walk in the woods? Or what if you don't like to sit and om and cross your legs and close your eyes? I can't meditate that way. My best meditation comes in a walk in the woods. So that's my meditation. But I can't do all the things every day. So I set a goal of, 5 of 7 days or 4 of 7 days. 4 is better than 0. Same thing with exercise. I know I want to work mobility. I know I want to do my yoga. I know I don't run anymore, but I used to try to work running into that mix. I know I need to do or want to do my strength training. But I cannot do all of those every day. So what is the best blend for me in this season? It doesn't mean I have to do it forever. How about like the next 3 months? Because you really can't predict much further than that. You can set goals and you can have a long-term vision, but realistically, your day to day, I can't tell you 3 months from now that I'm going to do yoga every day, because I might sprain an ankle when I'm dancing on the weekend. Who knows? So what can I do right now that's going to work for me right now? I dance 2 nights a week. I do yoga a couple days a week. That's the balance. That's the harmony that works for me. So really remember when I said we do that brain dump? It's all the things that you want to do: personal, professional, social, financial, occupational, all those different worlds that we work in and out of every day. Taking all of those things and what's the best balance right now, keeping the long term in mind, but what's the best harmony right now to get me to that next step? So that was a really long answer, but I got really excited.
That's great. That's what it's for. This is what I am what I love talking about as well. And I don't even have it here. I made a workbook. Oh, there it is. Which is basically what you're saying is, first, put it all on paper. I'm just listening. It's nice to hear, okay, right. Just the process of how it goes. I had a question right towards the end there. Oh, yes. So it's so true. And it's a tricky part with, I think, what you'd probably recognize is, because you work with entrepreneurs. I mean, tell me if I'm assuming here, but what I notice is those type of people, it's not that they have a lack of goals or ideas. It's that there's an abundance and not sure where to focus the energy. Because at least for me, what I used to, I still struggle with it, but less now, of I want to make a clothing line and a fitness attire and a book and a movie and a this and a that, and I had to go, okay, I can't do it all right now, but now it's like, I don't even know if I want to do half of those anymore. Let's put that 5 years down the line, because before I used to go, well, in 2024 I'll start it, and then it's like, well, I'm still just getting progress with the podcast. That's more like a 10-year. Yeah. How do you split? When somebody puts everything down, you're basically just a professional organizer of somebody's mind now and internal being. So it's so cool to see how each step has been a stepping stone for you and tying it all together now, an entire human. How do you kind of go, okay, let's prioritize those later? Is that like in a 3 months, or is that in 10 years? How far do you kind of spread things out? What's the timeline?
You saw me dancing. I was like dancing and jogging in place, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the ooey gooey. This is the good stuff. Because you literally took, and you said it, and that's when I started dancing the second time, is it takes the professional organizing, the concepts of professional organizing, and applies it to your business. And I love that, the strategy. So there's two concepts that I'll share. One of them is prime real estate. And in professional organizing, so whether it's your closet, your desk, whatever, the things that are right in front of you, the things that are in hand's reach without you moving, without you reaching up or bending down or turning to the side, that's your prime real estate. So the things that you're doing daily, the things that you're using all day, every day, the things that you're using regularly, your favorite clothes, the clothes that you wear consistently, that's in the front of your closet. That's on the top of your desk. The things that are, weekly or monthly that you're not using as frequently, but you still want them to be convenient, that's kind of second in place. That's behind the first stuff in your closet. That's maybe the lowest shelf on your closet. That's maybe right next to your desk in a filing cabinet or in a filing cabinet. And then the things that are seasonal or not used as right, your tax stuff or, stuff that you come to once a year or seasonal, your holiday stuff, that's on the top of the closet. Those are the things that you use a step stool for, or that you have to squat down and move other stuff out of the way and dig under. So that's your prime real estate. In your business, your ideas, your projects, the activities that you're doing, that's your prime real estate. So the things that you're working on right now, what are the things that are the most value, that bring you the most joy? It doesn't have to bring you the most money. What are the things, this is where we get into harmony, because there's different forms of compensation. And we can make all the money in the world, but if we're miserable, then does it really matter? We got to have some joy in there too. So what are the things that right now are bringing you joy, that are bringing you income, that are making an impact? What are the things that are important to you, first of all? Those are kind of the things important to me, the joy, the income, and the impact. And that's my prime real estate. So what am I doing with that right now? Okay, then what are the things that I know are my next steps? And I'm going to go ahead and put that in, my 12-week plan, my 3-month plan, or, this year. Then all of those other things, I'm not going to try to put a timeline on them, because again, like I used with the example for your body, I can't guarantee that I'm going to do yoga every day in 3 months from now, because I very well could sprain an ankle. I can't tell you that I'm going to do ABC project 3 months from now, because who knows what's going to happen with the stuff I'm doing right now. I might be on a podcast and an opportunity might come out of that takes me in a completely different direction. So I'm not going to waste my prime real estate, my time and my focus and my energy right now. I'm not going to waste that on stuff that may or may not happen, that are just ideas or concepts down the road. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to keep a running list of projects. They're not on my focus right now, but I'm giving them a home. I'm giving them a space to live. So I have my projects. I have a specific folder, or I use Notes, Microsoft Notes, not Microsoft, sorry, Mac Notes. So in my notes, I have a notebook that's projects, and I have a different page for each of my projects. And on that page, whenever I have a thought, when I'm meditating, when I'm walking in the woods, when I'm in the shower, when I'm trying to sleep, whatever it is, when I have a thought that's related to one of those projects that I'm not working on right now, I write it down in that notebook. It now has a home. It has a space to live. I don't have to keep thinking about it. It's not taking up my prime real estate of my time, my energy, my focus right now, because it has a home. And I know where to find it. I always have that one specific place. I think one of the things that we do is we'll write it on a Post-it, and then we'll have a different idea and we'll write it in this notebook with all of our other thoughts and random, and it's like 3 notebooks deep, 27 pages in, mixed in with 18 other thoughts, and we're never going to find it again. Right. So you give everything a home, whether it's prime real estate for what you're working on right now, whether it's the top of your closet in a specific bin that's labeled so you know where to find it later, or a notebook in your OneNote or your Microsoft Notes, or one specific paper notebook, wherever it may be. You keep that running list of your ideas and your projects. When you have a thought around that, you go ahead and collect it. You don't have to act on it, but you collect it and you know where to find it when the time comes. And then seasonally, I do really work in seasons. I have a lot of rituals and routines for myself and that my clients develop around the seasons. And that's kind of how we do our action plans. So each season, once you've gathered. Here's what I've accomplished. Here's what I'm carrying forward. Here's what I want to stop. Here's what I want to start. Here's what I want to continue. Then you go to your project list and you look and you say, okay, which one makes the most sense right now? You don't have to make decisions about where the rest of them are going to fit. They're in that holding place, but you've got them and you've got all the ideas and the thoughts. You can go through that and say, well, this one's the most developed. This one brings me the most joy. This one's going to have the most impact. And that's how you pull things over. And then the rest of them stay in the projects list until you're ready for them or not.
I love that. Thank you so much, because everyone can understand that analogy, because everyone at least tries to keep their own home organized and notices the difference when it is unorganized. It's just chaos and you can't really make progress because everything's everywhere, and you might go buy something else because you didn't realize you had it because it wasn't in the right spot, and then it's just not as efficient.
Yeah.
A question about seasons, because that's really been a big focus for me in the last couple of years. Maybe an odd question, but do you work... Okay, a few questions, and then you could just let me know what your thoughts are. Do you work with the individual and the kind of season that they're with the year calendar, or nature, or all of the above? How do you tie it together? What's the main focus?
Yes, and.
Yeah, right? I'm like,
Yes, and. So I love working with nature because, different times of the year we have more or less light, we have more or less energy. In the darker seasons, that's nature, that's the universe telling us we need more sleep during this time. This is our rest and recovery time. So I definitely... And that was just one little example. There's so many other things with nature. So I definitely try to be aware of nature's seasons. And then you've got school seasons. I know in the States, from September until May, or August until June, depending on the school, you've got kids in school. And so you're going to have different habits. You're going to have different routines. You're going to have different rituals. Meal prep, things like that you're not going to have in the summer. Summer, you're taking vacation, or, there's some different things to consider there. So there's definitely some day-to-day seasons that we're working with, or the season of having children versus empty nesting, or not having children at all. Some of it is athletics. If you are a competitive triathlete or recreational triathlete, my seasons for that were completely different. My training seasons leading up to an event were different from the month of a big race or event. You change your food, you change your nutrition, you change your sleep. You're focusing more on the exercise. Then, maybe that's a good time for maintenance in your business. You don't want to go starting a new line of something in your business, or a new big project at the same time you're trying to compete in a triathlon. So definitely it's where the client is in their business, where they are in their personal and professional life, where they are in their social life. I just officially yesterday, as of 2 p.m., I am divorced. So this is a completely different season for me than the past year of being. Thank you. It was definitely a congratulations.
That's great. Yeah. It's a whole new era.
It's a whole new era. It's completely different season of life for me than last year, where I was separated and dealing with lots of emotions, and things were heavy, and negotiations and financial. And then that was a completely different season from the years before, where I was trapped in my head and in my body and in my home and, all of the things. So when we talk about seasonality, there's a lot of different things. I do tend to work in 12-week cycles, though, whether it's with the moon, whether it's with the natural seasons, or the 12 weeks of a business year, just because it's close enough but far enough. It's close enough that you can plan your day-to-day for the next 12 weeks or the next 3 months. You can adapt and enhance as necessary, but it's a little bit bigger than, the day-to-day, the week-to-week. It gives you kind of a longer-term goal, but it's not too far out that it's, you can actually, it makes it more tangible. It makes
Yes,
it more
yes.
tangible when it's close enough but far enough. Anything beyond that, it's kind of just a little bit too far to be tangible. You can make progress towards it and keep your eye on it. We always want to keep those long-term goals in view. But as far as like the action steps, that inspired action, that's kind of that 3-month cycle that I work in.
Hmm. Well, thank you. That's good to know. And I'm also really happy that this podcast timing worked out today because I think a month ago I might have not got this version of you, and it's such a
Yeah.
beautiful version to experience. It just feels
Oh,
very uplifting and exciting, and a service to the world. Really, I can feel your gift giving, especially because I can align with the specifics of it. I do feel like the same. It's shifting from, well, even from nutrition. I first studied nutrition, and people say, well, how did you get to this mindset stuff? And I thought, well, I think you needed to learn the foundational diet, body, and then it's almost like each part builds, and the quickest way to help somebody is through their mind, and then the rest just sorts itself out, but you also have that knowledge.
and also, as you fuel your body, you're fueling your mind, because if you're not getting the nutrients that you need, your mind isn't going to process or function or adapt the way that you need. So that's where the integrative holistic approach comes. And nutrition is important for mindset's important for nutrition. Like, it all works together, and it's just fascinating.
Yes, it really is so fascinating. I know, I love it. I'm such a nerd when it comes to it because it's like this is all so cool, and the way the body works and the mind and all works together is just an absolute miracle for that to exist, and the nature. Just the more I spend time outside, the more I truly am like, oh, we're all, hello, tree. Just, like,
Yes.
thanks for having me. Things like that, where
Yes.
we really are so interconnected as a species and Earth to begin with. What is a mantra that you say to yourself, or you would say to a sort of an aspiring entrepreneur or a potential client?
So many, depending on the situation. I think for me, my current mantra is breathe. Breathe. Give my projects room to breathe, give myself room to breathe, give my body room to breathe. I used to just force things. I would just go, 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 go. And I wanted to get things done, and I wanted to accomplish things, and I wanted to be so successful. And I just didn't really enjoy as much as I could. I celebrated, but that's not the same as enjoying. And I think in order for me to enjoy things, I need to just slow down and respect what I'm doing and respect the work that I'm doing, instead of just doing it to get it done or doing it to accomplish something. So I think in order to do that, it's the phrase that I use the most, and it probably came from developing asthma and feeling what it feels like to not be able to literally breathe. But
Right?
I've learned, for my body, for my business, for my brain, for all of the things, I just need to breathe. And when I slow down and breathe and let the things around me breathe, let my relationships breathe, that I just enjoy it so much more. And I end up making so much more impact that way.
Hmm.
And the same for my clients. It just, like I said at the very beginning, my mission, my purpose, my passion is to share the gifts and the experiences that I've learned to help other people to be happier and healthier, and to have more sustainable businesses. And so anything that I'm saying about me, I'm also sharing that with my clients from my experience. I don't expect them to have the same experience, and I don't expect all of the things that I've done for me to work for them, but here's what worked for me. I encourage you to explore and try the same. So for me, it's breathing. It's just
I love
slow
that. Yeah,
down
I
and
felt that.
yeah.
It was great. Just quickly before we finish, because that kind of sparked a new thought when you said breathe. Again, same thing. What works for me is different, or at least I can only speak to me and kind of my friends and what I hear on a daily basis and people that I work with. But late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, I noticed a lot about for females timelines.
Mm.
What, because, yeah, right. What would you say, how would you help someone breathe through the pressure of a female timeline in whatever way, whether they want kids or don't? But there, I think that's fair to say common really with the majority of women kind of in that age group of like trying to be an entrepreneur and a relationship and friends and travel and adventure and all of that. Of what is your advice there?
All the things. That is where I don't know if this exactly answers your question, but I love to ask what if, and I love to ask what would it take. So what would it take for you to feel peace in this situation or with this decision? What would it take for you to feel balanced or for you to feel harmonized? What would it take for you right now? What would feel good to you? So yeah, I definitely didn't give you a specific answer. I just gave you a question to a question.
It wasn't a specific question. I just know when you said breathe, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, I noticed my friends, my sister's friends, or people just around this age, everyone's on such different paths, but each people look at my life and think, oh my God, you're having so much adventure and it looks incredible. But then I also have I look at other people's lives who have began that family and think, oh, well, there's pressure. So it's everyone's looking at each other thinking, where it's like, I remind myself often I'm on my own timeline and I'm quite comfortable, but I know that there's a lot of people who do not have these practices. And I just could feel you had a great piece of advice there. And I love, what would it take for you to feel peace? I think that's so helpful because it's not one fits all. It's everyone is so unique.
Yeah. Actually, you just reminded me, I do one of the first exercises that I do with people. It's called the 3 most important questions, and I won't give it away now. But that is one way that with all the things that you just described, that my first inclination was like, oh, I want to do 3 MIQ with you because that helps the process of like sorting the things out, and your picture is going to look completely different from somebody else's. And that's where you kind of you filter it out, and then, okay, what would it take for this to happen? What would it take for me to feel this passion? And what would it take for me to feel this inspiration? And what would it take for me to be, do, and have all of these things? So that just kind of ties in that question of what would it take. Oh yeah, I want to do that with you so bad. Maybe that'll be my gift that I give you and your audience today. I'll give you the
whatever you feel.
Let's do that.
I would love to. Okay, great.
Let's do that. I'm going to give you and your
It
audience
sounds so fun.
the 3 most important questions. Obviously, I don't have that ready because that just came off the top of our.
It's
But I'll
okay.
give you a link that we can use for that, and that'll be a complimentary
amazing.
gift for y'all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so kind. Everyone will love it. On that note, where can everyone find you or contact you? What is the best way? I'll also link it all, but I want to hear from you.
So I have made the choice to not spend a lot of time on social media. I protect my time and my energy, and most of my work is done through referrals and through conversations. So I'm not on a lot of social media. Really, the best way will be I'll give you a link where they can get the 3 MIQ or just connect with me there. It'll be mjmitchell.com is my website. I do have a free resource on there now that is a burnout prevention and recovery guide. But I'll send you a specific link just for the 3 MIQ for you guys.
Perfect. Oh, thank you. Okay, great. Well, I will share is it sort of like an application link, referral link on there, as well as your website or link in bio. And we'll go from there. But I know I've received so much from this conversation and just have seen such a parallel in kind of in a hopeful, beautiful way of how life can evolve from every aspect and how your gifts just keep on building from each other. So thank you so much for sharing your energy and passion and love with me, Monica. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
And same with you. I just want to play with you all day
I
now.
know, I'm like, we should have another conversation. This is so much fun.
Yes.
It's great for everyone, especially my age. Well, even everyone's age and kind of that transition of life. It's never not helpful. I just can only speak for myself and my friends, but okay. Well, I'll
Love the
leave it at
kindred
that. Thank
spirits.
you so much. Yes, exactly. Have the best Thursday ever, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you.